Hi, today I'm going to be reviewing the Anbernic RG35XX Plus, my personal favorite handheld emulation device. And in this video, there's going to be two parts. I'm going to go over the box, the device itself, the hardware, some of the features, and then in the latter half of the video, I'll show you some actual gameplay, some emulation of different consoles. Now, if you don't know what the Anbernic RG35XX Plus is, this is basically a small handheld device that will allow you to emulate and play retro games. So you can play anything from, say, the Nintendo NES, all the way up to, in my opinion, the PlayStation 1, and any consoles after that that have better graphics, better hardware. It may get a little bit shaky on this device. So in my opinion, up to the PlayStation 1 is the sweet spot. Now, before we go into the device itself, let me just show you the box quickly. So this is the box I received, and nothing too fancy here, basic box. I would say, quality is pretty nice, would make a good gift. You will notice that this is made in China, and that's no surprise. On the bottom of the box, you'll see the different colors that this device comes in. So there are different colors. I went with the transparent black, but you can also get this in white or gray. And let's see, that's pretty much all there is to it. In the box itself, you'll get the device, you'll get a USB-C cable for charging. You might get a screen protector depending on if you select that when you buy this. And then you'll also get a manual. So not much to it, pretty basic box, but decent quality. And let's take a look at the device itself. Now again, I went with the transparent black, and I love this device. It really reminds me of something like a Game Boy Color. So I used to have that, atomic purple transparent Game Boy Color. So that's why I went with this one. It really reminded me of that. And what you have here is basic D-pad, but let me say the D-pad on this feels great. I've been using this device now for over a year, so I know all the ins and outs. I have a lot of experience with it, and the D-pad is amazing. You've got your start and select button, and then you've got your four main buttons. And what's cool about the buttons is that they do have some color to make them pop. So the color really reminds me of something like a Super Famicom controller, which is awesome. And then lastly, you have this button here in the top middle, which is your menu button. So you can use that basically to get into your settings, get into your configuration, your load states, your save states, while you're emulating and playing games. So that basically will take you to the RetroArch menu, which is what this uses to emulate games. And besides that, you have your screen. So a beautiful screen, really surprised with the quality, really happy with it. And you'll get to see that a bit later in the video. On the back, you have your basic 4 trigger buttons. Nothing too special there. You have L1, L2, R1, R2, and there is a bit of a curve to them. I don't know if you can see that, but it feels very good in the hands to hold. Buttons have a nice clickiness to them. So really happy with the trigger buttons on this. Although I don't use them that much because I'm mostly playing, 8-bit or 16-bit games with the occasional PS1. Now coming to the sides, here's the first side. So you've got your power on button, you've got your reset button, and then you have 2 SD card slots. So this device can take 2 SD cards, and the way I've set it up is that my ROMs are on one SD card and the operating system is on the other, but there are different ways to set this up. So I believe you can technically put everything on one of the SD cards, but just know, excuse me, that there is 2 SD card slots. Now on this side, nothing too special here. You've just got, your volume up and down, nothing else. And on the bottom, you have your USB-C charging port and a headphone jack, which is a very welcome addition, in my opinion, because I love to play with headphones on while I'm traveling, for example, on an airplane. And lastly, at the top, you have a mini HDMI port. Now, it's important to know that this is a mini HDMI port. So your full-size HDMI cable will not plug into that, but the purpose of this is so that you can actually play this on your TV. Now, I've never actually tried that feature, but that port is there if you want to give that a try. So overall, I gotta say that the quality of the device itself is really good. And this thing goes for about $50 and up, depending on which edition you buy, what SD card you buy with it, etc. But it's about $50. And for $50, I gotta say this is a steal because the quality is awesome. And I gotta say, like, I haven't been let down by this at all. Again, I've been using this for over a year. It's never had any issue. It's never just crashed or shut down on me. No issues, no broken parts, used extensively, and looks awesome, feels awesome. So definitely gotta give a lot of praise to this device. Now let's take a look at some gameplay footage, do some emulation, and at the end of this video, I'll share my final thoughts. So first thing to note while this is starting is that I've installed custom firmware on here. So this is Mustard OS. There's a lot of different firmware that you can download and put on this device. So the interface you see here is not what it would look like if you were to buy one of these yourself, because again, I've replaced the stock operating system with Mustard OS. But just note that, all the interface, everything you see is customizable, so you can change the firmware. There's different themes, different layouts, etc. Now let's go into games. And let's start with something simple. So let's maybe just try Super Nintendo. And we'll page through here. And why don't we try, let's see, Final Fight. We'll do Final Fight 3. You get the sound up a little bit. Okay, so let's play as Guy. So 8 and 16-bit consoles on this device are gonna play perfectly. Like, I've never seen a single issue playing, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES, etc. And that's what you're seeing here again, Super Nintendo. And one thing that I can actually do here is we can go into the RetroArch settings and I can turn on the frame rate so you can see what the frame rate is as I'm playing. So there's tons of different settings here, by the way. I'm not going to go through them all, but there's a lot that you can do. So let's go display frame rate and let's resume. So now in the bottom left, you can see what the frame rate is as I'm playing. And pretty much any Super Nintendo game, like, it's gonna be at a steady, 60 frames per second. Right now it's at 58, but it will just hover there, so no issues at all on the frame rate side of things. And man, I gotta say, it is really fun to play on this. The button layout, everything is perfect for, 8-bit, 16-bit consoles. So it just feels like you're playing a Game Boy, basically, with a much better screen. Alright, so this is Final Fight. Let's get out of here. Go to the RetroArch settings, and we will close the content. And let's go back. So I've got a lot of different consoles on here, as you'll see in the menu. Some of these folders are empty, but this list isn't definitive to what this device can emulate. This is just what I've loaded on here. So why don't we try maybe PC Engine or PC CD. Let's see if I have some games. Yeah. So we'll do PC CD, and why don't we try, see, Lords of Thunder. Lords of Thunder. So this is PC Engine CD-ROM system. And look at the colors. Like, it just looks awesome on this device. I have to say, the screen on this thing is really good for the value, for the price that you're paying. Like, it just looks awesome. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but in person looks great. And if you've never played this game, by the way, this is a really fun game. So it's a shooter game. And let me tell you, it's not easy to film and play at the same time. But PC Engine CD plays awesome as well on this. Not a single issue, no performance issues. Never, played a game, tried to play a game that wouldn't work. Just everything works seamlessly through RetroArch on this device. So we'll play this for a minute or so, and then we'll go to the PS1, which I think will give you a better idea of how the performance is on this device. Alright, so that's Lords of Thunder on the PC Engine CD-ROM. Let's close content, and let's go to the PS1. And as I've mentioned, PS1 I think is the sweet spot for this device. I wouldn't really try anything with a more, performant console. Let's go back. Or rather a console, with better hardware. I think PS1 is the tops for this. You can probably get away with playing some games on, Saturn, maybe even Dreamcast, but not everything's going to run well. And you also don't have, any analog stick on this. So for me, I go as high as PS1, and I only play games that only need the D-pad. So let's go with, let's start with a fighting game. Let's go down page through to Tekken 3. Got the classic PlayStation logo. And why don't we turn on the frame rate again so you can see how this performs. I'll go into the RetroArch settings so you can see again the frame rate. Hopefully the camera focus is okay. But starting off at 60 frames per second, and looks like I just selected Zhao Yu by accident, but that's okay. And you will see that the frame rate is a steady 59.9 or so. So no drops while I'm playing this. And again, I've never really seen any issues emulating PS1 on this thing. And I've played through like entire games, entire RPGs on this. That's what I like to play on here because again, I just have the D-pad. I don't have any analog sticks, so it's mostly fighting games and RPGs for me. But yeah, performance, very good on the PS1 with this. So to be able to play PS1 games on this little device, on handheld mode, while traveling or something, it's awesome. So definitely recommend this. If you're looking to play up to PlayStation 1, I think this is a great device to have. Just know you will be limited to some of the games because you don't have that analog stick or analog sticks. So we'll get through a little Tekken and then we'll do one last game on the PS1 to close out this video here. There we go, a little combo action. Alright, so Tekken 3, solid frame rate, no issues. Let's get out of here. We'll do one more. Why don't we try Die Hard 2? Die Hard Trilogy 2, I guess, to be exact. So cutscenes, like PS1 cutscenes, 3D stuff, all display really well on this. Like you can see how sharp that looks. We'll let this video play for a minute so you can get an idea. So it looks awesome. And let's see, I don't know that I've ever played this game, so let's go arcade mode. Yippee-ki-yay. McLean. Alright. Let's see, what are the buttons here? I don't know how to shoot. There we go. So, buttons, I need to learn the buttons here. This game looks pretty fun. I might have to actually play this on my own. But again, playing great, no issues. I can turn on the frame rate again. Alright, frame rate on. It's 60 frames per second right now. And let's see what we can do here. Murk that guy. Whoa. And I guess I just caught on fire and died. Okay, well, let's leave it at that. So to cap this out again, you're going to be good with anything up to the PS1. I don't have Nintendo 64 games on this or Dreamcast or anything, for example. You'll see those folders are empty because just not even interested in playing those on here without an analog stick. So I couldn't tell you how the performance is on those systems. For me, it's really just 8-bit, 16-bit, and PS1 games on here because of the, the D-pad and the buttons here. Not interested in going beyond that, but I'm sure you can look up and find performance on those systems as well. So overall, just want to say and show you that, PS1, up to PS1 on this plays great. No frame rate issues, no drops. I've never had any problems. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to wrap this up by saying that the RG35XX Plus is an awesome device. I'd recommend this to anyone, and I'm actually comfortable to give this a 10 out of 10, and that's mainly because of the price factor. It's only around 50 bucks, and for 50 bucks, the quality is amazing. I'm not going to say it's the best, highest quality device ever, but for what you're getting for 50 bucks, is incredible. That's pretty cheap, and I've never had an issue with it, so definitely recommend if you're looking into this, pick it up. You won't have any regrets. And with that said, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe for more, and have a good day.